The first order of business is we have a new school board member tonight, and we'd like to swear in Tom Hickford. Michelle.
Good job, Bill.
Okay. Yeah, and you speak loud enough, you can pick up on the mic.
All right. So I'm going to read my copy, then you're going to read your. Okay. Do you solemnly swear to execute the duties incumbent upon you as a school board member at large for the Wentworth Regional School District, as to the duties of the penalty of perjury?
I do.
All right.
I, G. Thomas Bickford, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. Also, I, G. Thomas Bickford, do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent on me as school board member at large of the Governor Wentworth Regional School District, according to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire. So help me God.
Sit right at the head of the table. Okay. Flag,
Oh, here they are.
okay. Please join me to the pledge of allegiance. Flag of the pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes. I have a health alert update for our state.
And before we get into the approval of the minutes, I'd certainly like to welcome Dr. Caroline Kelly as our new superintendent, her first official board meeting, and we're very happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, I entertain a motion for approval of the school board meeting on June 6th.
So moved.
Second. Been moved by Brody, seconded by Dr. Jim. All those in favor? I was going to call Tom, but he's going to have to abstain for some.
All right.
Brody?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And chair votes aye as well. The second is the academic affairs meeting, also on June 6th. Okay, we'll pass over that for next month. And the motion to approve the student hearing, the non-public session on June 20th.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Jim. Seconded by, nobody else was there. When you were there.
Second. I wasn't there. All right, I would please, not me. I was the second.
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded by Brody. Okay, all those in favor, Brody?
Aye.
Wendy was not there. Stephanie? Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Abstaining and wasn't present.
Sean Lee was not here. Dana?
Yes.
And chair votes aye as well. Those are 4 votes. We may have to, we don't have a quorum to vote on that, so we'll probably postpone that till next month as well. And we also, because Kathy O'Glennis is not here tonight, we do not have a manifest to approve. So we'll move right into public input. Any public input? put 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting, 5 minutes per individual. It looks like you're dying to say something.
I'm gonna pass, Jack.
Okay.
Let me give you a break.
Okay.
I want those two Durham reps to look out for that. I'm over there.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move right on to the superintendent's report.
Great, thank you. And first, I want to thank everyone for the warm welcome. I've had a wonderfully warm welcome from everyone for the past 6 weeks and even before that. Thank you to Mr. Beaverstock for hosting. I know we don't have a presentation for the August meeting, but I want to thank you for hosting tonight. And then as far as opening remarks, I included in your packet my entry plan, not to be confused with the COVID re-entry plan. It's a superintendent entry plan. I had some questions about that. And I wanted to just provide a letter of introduction and kind of a sketch, an outline of what I'll be doing to have a seamless transition of leadership over this next few months and year. And that will involve a lot of meeting with people, learning about the district, the history of the district, what's happening now, and what people's goals and wishes and desires are for going forward. So I did put some of those plans in that letter and in the second page. And so if you have any questions or if you wanted to reach out to me or provide any input or feedback on that, please feel free to let me know, but I'll be keeping you posted as we move along.
Is this posted on our website?
No, I think that's great.
Well, I'm just wondering if they are public, that would be interested in hearing what you have to say.
Absolutely.
I guess toward that end, it's wonderful to see that you really value the voices of all the stakeholders in the district and ensuring that everybody's voices are heard. Just really appreciate that.
The next item is Security Action for Education Grant Proposals. So this is for your information. The SAFE grants have been issued by Homeland Security in collaboration with the Education Department in New Hampshire. And so there is approximately 10,000, it was $13 million, now $10 million available to districts to propose projects in 3 categories: surveillance, access control, and emergency alerting. The deadline is August 26th, and we can ask for up to $100,000 per school. So there'll be potentially 3 applications per school in those categories. We've also included some of the items that we may be putting in those applications. So these projects are items that have already been recommended by Homeland Security, but have not yet been budgeted by the district. They'll also be reviewed and approved by the fire chief and police chief and emergency operations officer in each of our towns before we actually submit that to the state for review. So we're in the process of sending that to all of our chiefs in all of our towns and submitting to the state.
Any questions on that? Yes,
I just have an observation while I was reading this. I'm a little bit disturbed, this press release from the Department of Education saying the New Hampshire Department of Education is pleased to announce that starting today, public and non-public schools may begin submitting grant applications for school security projects using the process put in place for the public school infrastructure fund. And then further going to their website, which you want to have a copy of here, the second round of funding seemed to indicate that public schools will only get preferential access in the first round and probably not in the second round. So I guess I just want to make a public observation that this looks like another backdoor for private schools to obtain public money. Not to say that it's not for a good reason, but they are private schools. So I think, again, our Department of Education is not doing the best for us. Observation.
Thank you. Yes,
Just more of a comment. My sister is a police officer in Mesa, Arizona, and she's a student resource officer. And we had been commented here a couple months ago regarding student resource officers in the elementary schools. And I know that's a financial burden, quite frankly. However, in Arizona, they adopted a model because they don't have student resources in the elementary schools either. But they did more of an adoptive school type thing where the local police departments went in and checked in with the principals every day before someone signed out. They made sure that everyone was safe. As taxpayers in the district, I don't know if we can necessarily, the school can support adding student resource officers, but I don't know if we can partner per se with our local police officers to maybe check in every day before the kids, once the school starts, that the school is closed and safe, or ways to partner with them to go in and visit the schools a little bit more often, because more often it's more identifying that the police officers are there, they're safe, someone they can communicate with, not necessarily patrolling the perimeters as they do in such the middle school and high school area. And I thought this was just an interesting model that perhaps we could collaborate a little bit more in the elementary realms.
The superintendent and I had talked briefly about that request for SROs in schools. One of the challenges there too is the size of the police departments in our individual communities. I don't know how many police officers we have in Effingham.
Two maybe.
Maybe two.
Yeah, maybe two now.
And, I'll say the same way.
Yeah.
Tuckerville is always as we're looking for an additional officer. They have four, but they were looking for an additional officer, but that's been turned down every year, budget time. So that's certainly a challenge. Maybe a model like that that you're proposing might be something.
Yeah, I have a video of it. I can send it to the superintendent. It just kind of profiles how it came about, how shows what they do and work with the community. I mean, since we're all really taxpayers, we're all utilizing the same people. Maybe a collaboration might help. Thank you.
Any other?
I'm really happy that we are applying for these funds.
Yes.
And I think it is, a lot of these things are sort of not really major things, and I think that speaks to the good security that we already have. But it would be really nice to get these things funded up. So thank you for attending to this and for generating this list.
Moving on to the Pop-Whalen Memorandum of Understanding. So this is for your information. You'll hear a report out for building and maintenance. However, we included the MOU here at their recommendation, so you can generate questions. Not necessarily, you may have questions right here and now, and that's fine. We'll take those questions. If you think of them later, you can pass them on to me. And Kathy O and I will talk with the town and Friends of Pop-Whalen about getting your questions answered. I can share that the Friends of Pop-Whalen have been working on this plan for 14 to 15 years. The town is investing $4 million, and the Friends of Pop-Whalen investing $2.7 million for the expansion. So that's the difference there. You can see the proposal there for the financial investment on behalf of Kingswood, our students at Kingswood to play hockey there and to own those locker rooms. They came up with that cost by the square footage. So it's roughly 1,000 square feet for the locker room. So that's how they came up with the amount. It's around $240 per square foot. It's a 12-month facility that Kingswood could use for other sports. I know that was a key question coming out of our building and maintenance committee. It's not exclusive to hockey. And the intent is for the locker rooms to be owned by Kingswood and not accessible to any other group or the town without our permission. This money could be paid over a few years, but then there would be interest because it would be a loan from the bank. It would be a competitive rate for ice time compared to other rinks in the area, and obviously closer than any other ice rink. But the purpose for tonight is for information, for you to share any questions you might have with us, and then we'll follow up with you after this.
I think one of the areas that I'd like some information on, which is not in the MOU at all, is the cost of the fit up of each one of the sidewalks. That's something that we're responsible for. So that's a cost of above and beyond the $250,000 that we're asking for, which could be significant. And obviously the MOU mentioning the exclusive use obviously isn't in the MOU. This MOU basically tells us that lessor of the town has control over other renters, which is certainly not acceptable to me. It's not so.
Can you speak up a little bit? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Basically,
Can't hear you in New Durham.
The MOU, the way it's written, doesn't specify, but specifies that the lessor of the town of Wolfeboro can lease the locker rooms to us, which obviously would have to change. And it also says during the hockey season, which again is not our intent, is these are year-round facilities that we as a district would use for whatever we want to use it for. So obviously there's a lot of work to be done cleaning this up and making it acceptable, and then we have to decide, once we have the entire cost together, the $250 for Popwell Arena and plus the fit up, is that a warrant article that we want to put out in March to our taxpayers? And we support an article for that amount of money for the hockey program. And again, I'm certainly not against hockey. The hockey program, there's a lot of money to spend for one sports.
One sport.
And the other question is, if the taxpayers vote against this, is there an opportunity for a yearly lease agreement at $25,000 a year or $20,000 a year or whatever? They say this is 40 years until the movie lapses. So spread the 250 over 40 years and have that as a record. In addition to the ice time. Right now, our ice time includes the use of the old grounds. So what does that do to our cost of the ice time? Does that come down somewhat? And because we're now going to be using our old lockers, if we can pay them. Brody?
Have we found out who our point of contact's going to be?
It's
with
going
the town of
to
Wolfeboro?
be Jim Pinino, the town manager.
Okay.
And it's going to be a contract between the town of Wolfeboro and the Governor Wentworth School District, so Jim would be the go-to person. And he can certainly work with whoever he wants to within the Friends of Popwell and all to hammer out the agreement that they think is fair as well.
So I'm just thinking of scenarios. If we decide to bring a version of this to the taxpayers, and if it's voted down, how will, I'm just trying to play out a few scenarios here. Will these locker rooms not get built?
No, the locker rooms would get built, but we wouldn't own them, so we would have to come up with a lease agreement for them. Again, either for just our hockey season or for year-round use, or whatever. We'd have to negotiate that with the town of Wolfeboro as a separate item. So that, again, and that we certainly be up to the voters in March if it comes forward in that format.
Right. Yeah, I guess for me speaking, that's a lot of money for one sport. For me, sports are a privilege in public school, and I think we do a tremendous job supporting our kids as much as we can. We've had a lot of struggles, with COVID and getting back on track academically. And, I know there's a balance between having fun and letting the kids be loose and stuff, but, being financially responsible to the entire school district and all of the taxpayers in all of the town. My struggle is we're putting, again, the district supports the NIC, and that resides in Wolfeboro, and we chose to do that to take some of the load off our environment here. But we don't do that in other towns. What if, the kids were bused to New Durham or Ospey or Effingham? We're not sinking $250,000 in another town in this district. So and again, that's the sweat equity of all the taxpayers always seem to come back to Wolfeboro. And that's my struggle, because I don't think it's spread evenly. And my heart I'm really having a hard time with this.
I think just something we need to remember is that it is a year-round facility, so it would be many sports that would be able to use the locker rooms. I don't think we should lose sight of that. I guess the point about the rink, the reason why Wolfeboro has a rink is because its taxpayers about 100 years ago, a little bit less, 70 years ago, built a rink, and the school district was involved, during renovations and procuring those locker rooms. And it's the only community within our school district with a rink. And it's also the only community in the school district with outdoor facilities for track and field. So there's something to be said where if you have a community of 6,400 people, that's the largest tax base that funds a lot of its infrastructure, and a lot of that infrastructure is used by the school district. It kind of if there was a rink in New Durham that was offering us a better, more competitive price, I'd say we should use it, but New Durham's never going to build a rink. And that's just kind of the reality. Is that
we also funnel money here, Brody. That's what I'm saying. The taxpayers' money from New Durham are utilized to fund things here at the NIC as well. So I'm just saying.
But every student from every town
that's what I'm
utilizes
saying.
the NIC.
I'm not going to have the discussion with you.
Well, no, I think you're right. The NIC and the Popwell Arena are used by students from all across the district. There's no question about that. I think the question really comes down to if and when we present this to the taxpayers will have the choice to either approve or not approve the spending of however much money it is. I think we just need to know all of our options, whether it be a one-time payment of $250 to the Popwell plus the fit-up of the locker rooms. If we can't do that, if the voters, or if it doesn't make sense for us to do that from a budgetary standpoint, then we have to look at other options, whether it be leasing the locker rooms, if they're going to be built, can we lease them? Again, if they're built and we're not going to pay for the fit-up, is Popwell going to pay for the fit-up of those locker rooms as well, and include that part as part of the rental agreement for those people that are using them? So there's a lot of work to go into this before we go any further.
Jeff,
Yes.
can I just ask a quick question? Is the intention for the arena to have ice year-round?
It's not going to be ice. It's going to be used
It
year-round.
could be year-round ice, but they're not going to because they want it to be a multiple-use facility. So it'll extend the year of how long there is ice, but it's not always going to have ice.
Yeah, the MOU is actually Popwell and Ice and Arts Center. So it's going to be used for other things other than ice hockey and ice skating.
I was not clear on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we know what the ice hockey season is?
It runs right from November through February probably.
About last week in November to last week in March,
March, okay.
depending on playoffs.
Yeah. And this is a similar agreement that is being presented to Brewster as well. Don't know where they sit on it, but they would, and however they decide to move forward is up to them. This is what we need to present to our taxpayers, whether it be part of a regular budgetary item at a lower rental or lease agreement, or a one-time warrant article for the whole thing.
Is there a separate locker room that's intended to be built for Brewster? That
Yes.
is- oh,
Yes.
right, okay.
Yeah, separate lockers for them, separate lockers for us. Yeah.
And a whole other set for visitors.
Yes.
This is a lot of work.
What is it, $6.7 million?
I think it's 7, I think it's a little more than 7
$7 million.
So, I mean, the town put up a little over 4 million. The organization Friends of Pop Island, which is private donors from this area, put forward almost $3 million. So,
Can I ask about what the next steps are, just so we're all clear?
I think we did, if I can, I think it's, we take our questions and concerns with the MOU to Jim Pinio to start with,
Okay.
to see where they are. You know, if they're steadfast in saying, this is what has to happen and this is where we're going to do it, then we'll kind of be at an impasse, I think, for the town of Wolfeboro. But I think if there's an opportunity to sit and negotiate and say, you know, this is how we see it, this is how you see it, this is what has to be done, and to our benefit, thinking the benefit of this people in the Pelham School District, and we can get something hammered out that makes sense for everybody, then that's what we do.
So we'll expect an update at the next meeting?
There'll be updates at the next meeting, and probably the meeting after that, and until we have to either put a warrant article out there or not.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Um,
Okay.
Next item is a new student representative. She's not here this evening, I don't believe. But it's Marcella Benito, selected by her peers to serve as a student council representative to our school board for this school year. So hopefully she's available to join us. Next is the calendar. So we noticed, actually, our high school principal brought to our attention that the graduation date was the Saturday date on the list of dates at the bottom of the calendar. And he is requesting that we change that to Friday tentative, because apparently this is how it's been done for the past couple years. They offer 3 times, Friday, Saturday morning, and Saturday evening. So in case of rain, they can just move it to the next time. And, you know, with the hope that it can definitely be outside and not have to restrict the number of tickets to families. So even with our spacious art center, they would still have to restrict the number of tickets per family. And in addition, the setup on the field, they have to pay for the setup on the field regardless. So if you set it up on a Wednesday or Thursday for practice, for graduation practice, and then you know, if the one day is Friday and you have to go inside, you would still have to pay for that setup on the field. So he's saying that families have been very happy, and the feedback has been very positive for this system. So he's requesting that we put the Friday date as a tentative graduation date.
I know that there have been some public comments made that it's very difficult for parents to plan for a graduation that's a moving target. So I don't know if that, I want to make sure that you have a daughter who's a senior. I wonder what your thoughts are, if you would prefer one day or 2.
As far as we're going to have alternatives, certainly knowing
Yeah.
the sooner the better.
It's typically
Yeah,
determined.
the only moving target, though, is if it's raining on Friday, it moves to Saturday. It's still the
And
same
if it's
weekend.
raining on Saturday morning, it moves to
It moves
Saturday.
Saturday night, but it's the same day. I mean, it's the same weekend regardless
Yeah.
of what. So I think as long as people know that it's the weekend of the 9th and 10th, the 9th is ideal. If the weather doesn't cooperate, it will be on the 10th. And if the weather doesn't cooperate on Saturday night, if it happens to be just raining both days, then Saturday night it gets moved inside. Because then at that point, there's just no choice. But again, it's all one weekend. And I think if people can plan on that weekend, Friday night being the ideal time. Personally, I like the last couple of years being Friday night. For a couple of reasons. First, you're not out in the blazing sun. I don't know how many years we've been out there where it's, the sun's at 110 degrees beating on it. It may not have been that on the thermometer, it felt like it up on the stage. So Friday night is a great night to do it, I think. And it also gives families the entire weekend then to enjoy that.
For how long have we been doing it on Friday nights and not Saturdays?
Just the last 2 years.
And it was that way a long time ago.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Like 70s and 80s?
Yeah, before I got on board. But back in the 70s and 80s.
I was going to say, I graduated on a Saturday,
Yeah.
just in 20, so it doesn't seem like that long of a tradition. I'm against it because I think it's impossible for families, and I think it's difficult for families to plan on a Friday. I don't think it's fair to some families to give up a day of work and a whole day's worth of wages and labor. They have to give up a Friday of work. I don't think that's fair to them. Some families can do that, some families can't. I think Saturday mornings, yes, it's hot, but I think people tend to have Saturdays off. It's easier for a family to come across the country to take a evening Friday flight to get there and wake up Saturday morning and do it. I think it makes so more people can participate and more people in the community can accommodate it into their work schedules. So I just wouldn't be able to support changing it. I almost feel like we talked about it at the last meeting too, that we put it on a Saturday because people have given public comment because they were very disgruntled with the Friday. And it's one of the only things I've gotten complaints about being on the board, where I've actually gotten emails where people are like, why are we doing this on a Friday? I can't have my family come out and see my family. We'll have to have a graduation party on Saturday, and they'll have to watch it at home.
I know there was one individual in the audience that suggested that Friday wasn't convenient for them. That's the only comment that I heard. If we looked at the number of people in the audience last Friday, last graduation day, Friday night, the athletic field was packed. And it was packed, no less people there than Saturdays prior. The people up in the stands, they filled every single chair on the lawn. So I understand and I appreciate your comments. I don't think it had any effect at all from my standpoint on the number of people that showed up.
Jack, may I add a comment? We did specifically ask Guy about complaints after hearing some feedback, and he did not personally receive any negative feedback about the Friday graduation, although some on social media have expressed different concern. Nothing was expressed explicitly to Guy.
Yes, Jim.
Well, I also think, just to build on your comments, there are a lot of people who work weekends. And there are a lot of people who now have Fridays off. There's a lot of 4-day work weeks and so on. So I think it's hard to paint with such a broad brush to, maybe, when I was a kid, that might have been true. But I think nowadays, schedules are just, all over the place. And there's going to be people who say, oh, I got to work Saturday. I got to work my second job on Saturday. Those sort of things. So I don't know whether people are wounded quite so much by that. No matter what day of the week we choose, somebody's going to be inconvenienced.
Tom?
I share Brody's concerns, and I hear Jim's comments, and I agree with Jim. I think they're both valid statements.
Well, I don't remember how many we've had, but I do remember one graduation where I got my back soaked standing outside the tent because there wasn't enough room under the tent for you to be inside. It was going to rent the tent.
Yeah.
British graduation.
I
literally was swimming.
The tent was beautiful, but I think
Everybody underneath it was fine, but I was swimming outside.
Stephen was in that graduation, that was rough.
And so I can't imagine it. And then knowing that we have to force it into the art center, I know they're set up to do it, and they're going to have the people listening in the gym on closed circuit and stuff, but if anything takes away from it, that would be even more so. That it will take away from graduation because your family can't be there. They're present, but they're isolated.
Yes.
I don't think past to on Friday night. The attendance has been so big, I don't think that would have fit in the auditorium. So what I'm saying is, I think it's ample people who want to be at graduation have been able to participate on Friday night.
Thank you. All right, in light of that, then I would entertain a motion to revise the calendar to list June 9th as the tentative graduation day with a rain date of June 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Jim Pittman, seconded by Dr. Jim. Okay, all those in favor, Tom,
Yes.
Brody,
Nay.
Wendy,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Jim Pittman,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and Chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
we'll change the calendar.
Next is the authorization to suspend. Not sure if you take a vote or simply sign.
We do take a vote and then we sign them. So this is traditional. Each year, we, the Governor Wentworth Regional School Board, recognizes Caroline Arkelian, the Superintendent of Schools, and Heather R. Cummings, Assistant Superintendent, and as our representatives, and authorize them to suspend students from school for up to 10 days in accordance with RSA 193.13-1B. Superintendent may designate this authority to the school principals and assistant principals. Furthermore, the superintendent and assistant superintendent are authorized, following a hearing, to continue the suspension of a pupil for a period in excess of 10 days up to a total of 20 days. It's a standard authorization that we need to approve. I would ask for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Jim. Who wants the second? Stephanie?
Yeah.
I'll do a second.
All right, Tom,
Yes.
Brody,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Jim Pittman,
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Chair votes aye as well. I'll sign it and then I'll pass it around the table for the signatures.
Should I
Sure.
move on to this one? Okay. So G, authorization to sign assurances for grants. We, the Governor Regional School Board, authorize Superintendent Caroline Arkelian, Assistant Superintendent Heather R. Cummings, and Business Administrator Kathy O'Glennis, and/or Curriculum Director Caitlin Hills to sign the insurances for all grants and requests to and from trust funds.
Okay. I entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Moved by-
Second. Well, I thought you were gonna let me move.
Somebody out there, somebody out in the
He jumped in, all right.
audience.
Moved by Jim Pittman, seconded by Brody. Okay, all those in favor, Tom,
Aye.
Brody,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Dr. Jim,
Yes.
Jim Pittman,
Yes.
Dana.
Yes.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you. I'm going to sign this again and send it across. All righty. All right, so while you're signing, you can move on.
Okay,
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So our additional item, New Hampshire DHHS just issued a new health alert Friday afternoon at 4:30, to be precise. Slightly changing their recommendations per the CDC changes as well. I do have copies of the HAN health alert, if you are interested. But basically, the one notable change that both CDC and New Hampshire DHHS, New Hampshire took on this change was that in-home close contacts who are not up to date on vaccinations are no longer required to quarantine. So in other words, if someone in the home gets COVID, that person, it's still our requirement that that person would quarantine for 5 days and then wear a well-fitted mask an additional 5 days. However, it used to be the case that those who are not up to date on vaccinations in the home would also have to quarantine. Both CDC and New Hampshire are saying that is no longer their recommendation. So if we have a student in school who gets COVID, has a positive test result for COVID, and has to stay home, the siblings do not need to quarantine, even if they are not up to date in their vaccinations. And not up to date means they're 2 shots plus a booster. Question?
Yeah, question. Are you looking for a motion to update our state open plan to be in accordance with those suggestions from the CDC? and
Probably a good idea.
I would move that,
Okay.
what I just said.
Motion by Brody to update our state open plan to conform with the new CDC and New Hampshire DHHS recommendations.
Second?
Seconded by Dr. Jim. Okay, all those any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, Tom?
Aye.
Brody?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Yes.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Chair votes aye as well. Okay.
That's it for my report. Other
Okay.
than I just want to introduce, we do have a new principal here in the audience. This is Tracy Rose of Carpenter School.
Speech.
You must know our other.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We do.
Tracy, you came from where did you come from?
Hi. I arrived in New Hampshire in June from Oklahoma City, and I am thrilled to be here, part of Governor Wentworth School District, and everybody's been wonderful. I felt so welcome, and thank you for approving me. And I'm super excited to get started, and could not be happier to be here, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, under Chairman's report, one thing that's not on here that I'll just mention, the New Hampshire School Board Association's annual delegate assembly is Saturday, October 1st this year. Even though I'm on the board, I can't be there this October 1st on Saturday. If anyone would like to step in and be the voting delegate from Governor Wentworth, please let me know, and we can sign you up. It's at the Caponi Center in Concord. It's going to run probably from about 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's on again on a Saturday, October 1st. And basically you do the business of the association, voting on membership, voting on the budget, and then getting into discussions on the current resolutions that are being proposed this year. This discussion on voting on. So if somebody would like to do that on October 1st, just let me know and we'll get you signed up. Okay. Yes, Jim?
Yes, I'm interested.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Brody?
Oh, I was just going to say I would offer if no one wants to. I usually have Saturdays off, but if Jim's going to do it, that's fine too.
As far as I know, there's nothing that prevents me.
All right, well, we'll get you all the information necessary.
Great.
To make you a voting member.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Correspondence this past month, expressions of sympathy to Kathleen Gilbert from the SAU office on the passing of her mother. To Kelly Mask from the SAU office, she's our special education director, on the passing of her father-in-law. Again, expressions of sympathy to Jean Fader, OSCP paraeducator, newly retired, on her passing. So the family of Jean Fader. Expression of thanks and retirement gift to the family of Paulette Armstrong, recently retired and passed away as well. Kind of sad. Okay, moving on to committee reports, academic affairs. Charlene is not here, and Jim is going to take over for that position.
Great, thank you, Jack. Academic Affairs met prior to this meeting today. We reviewed these two policies, EAG-E, the Employee Volunteer Computer Network Acceptable Use Agreement. We did identify additional edits that are going to be necessary, so that will be carried forward. Additionally, we reviewed policy JGA-R, which is the acceptable use policy for internet, network, and computers. Again, some edits were identified for clarification and so forth, so that as well will be carried forward. We had no other business to transact.
Okay. Thank you very much for doing that, Jim. Building and maintenance.
That would be you, Jack, this Tim's president.
That would be me.
Well, you were a team lead at our last meeting.
I was there as a guest. I wasn't.
Oh, I thought you were a team, okay.
No, I wasn't really a team. But
Jim or Dana?
but Dana, would you like to?
Now, since you asked Mr. Pittman to take over Mr. Eldridge's responsibility, he was our chairman of the building, so I just assumed that was going to be shifted to Mr. Pittman also.
That actually is going to be, part of tonight. So I'll ask. I'll make that. I was going to do that anyway. So now that we have Tim Eldridge obviously resigned his position, and Tom Bickford has taken his position. At this point, I'd like to ask Jim Pittman to move from academic affairs back to building and maintenance, where Tim Eldridge was on and he was chair at that point, and ask Tom Bickford to step in to academic affairs. That would be Charlene, Tom, and Stephanie on academic affairs, and it would be Jim Pittman, Brody, Dr. Manning, and Dana on building and maintenance. So I'd like to, if that's agreeable to you, Jim, I would like that would be.
I vote yes.
Okay. We don't need a motion on it, really. It's just
Can we have a chance for Tom to express how he
sure.
fits with that?
Well, sounds interesting to me. Basically, I'm here to help out, so.
Okay.
You still want a report?
If you'd like to give a report, or we talked about a lot.
Kathy's not here right now.
We did.
Yeah.
Kathy wasn't here.
Kathy gave us an update on the some of the current projects that are going on over the summer. We discussed some of the lighting that's currently needs to be renovated at the Kingswood Arts Center, and how we need to be finding where in the budget we can find funds for that, because there's a project that we're going to have to deal with that needs to be dealt with before, probably during the school year, during the fall of the school year. We discussed the MOU and how we were going to go forward with that, and what our suggestion to the board would be, what we discussed earlier.
We even talked about the landscaping issue.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about
That's right.
landscaping issues.
The landscaping
And we
issues.
talked about the issue with, what did I say?
Yes, we have a new principal that's involved with the Carpenter Playground.
That was.
Oh, that was the other
That's what it
one.
was.
The Carpenter Playground, we
Yes,
talked about that
Carpenter
one.
Playground, and there's a.
And the carpet fence.
Right.
Oh, and the fence, which,
You talking about the safety grants?
Yeah.
oh, and the safety grants.
I vote yes for fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the fences kind of might be the biggest thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that needs to be updated because that's been hanging around for a while. Essentially, we're putting the project out to bid,
Yeah.
and then we're going to split it based on proportionality of how long the fence is. Split some of it with the property owner there on Union Street, and split some of it with the town of Wolfeboro, and rebuild the fence once we can find a fencer, which in this economy, there's a lot of fences that need to be built and not a lot of people building fences, so.
And they're running, so.
All right, they actually have it planned.
Wow, so we have it all planned. Well, there we go. Then
There you go.
and I think that's it. Building and maintenance.
Great.
Good
Okay.
job.
Good job, Greg. Okay, finance, it's a little early for finance, but again, our finance meetings will be in November, and the budget process will start, as soon as school starts. So we're right in the middle of that. And human resources, nothing on tonight's, nothing to report tonight.
I guess in regards to finance, just a thought that we have quite a few grants, monies, many positions fully funded through grants.
Yeah.
And, I guess to just verbalize the thought about what that will mean in terms of sustainability and the budget, how it will affect the budget moving forward.
Well, certainly some of the ESSER money for the two-year positions will go away, and so will those positions, as that's the way it was structured to start with. But you're right, any of these grants, it's great to have additional positions that are funded by grants, but once the grant money looks like it's going away, we really have to evaluate each and every position that's funded by a grant to see if it's something that we can absorb in our budget. So, absolutely. Okay, advanced planning. As you can see on the bottom, we have new staff orientation on the 29th. In-service days the 30th and September 1st. First day of school for students is September 6th, Tuesday. New teacher reception. Our next board meeting is on the 12th of September, preceded by the new teacher reception at 4 o'clock, and then our board meeting at 7. And you can see the open houses are already being scheduled for the 14th, 15th, 21st, 22nd, and 28th of September. So it's a great opportunity to get into the buildings if you can to meet some of the staff. And it's really a great opportunity to visit if you have a chance.
Will the school board meeting be at the Lakes region, or will it be in Brookfield?
No, October is going to be Brookfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've moved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's going to, the board meeting will be at the LRTC.
Okay, I didn't realize we put it for October. Thank you.
Okay, public input.
I have a question, sorry. I'm Kim Kelleher, I teach at the high school and I live here in Wolfeboro. I just had a question, and I had emailed Tim Eldridge back in June, so that's why I'm going to ask all of you, and I'll just give it to you. I'm not looking for an answer. But I was under the impression last spring that we were going to be using some of the ESSER money to do research to put air conditioning into the elementary schools that don't have anything. Like, we're really fortunate at the high school and the middle school to have the central air. And he assured me that they were going to be working on this over the summer, and I felt a little bad not seeing him here today. So I guess I would just leave you with that question about, those funds, those ESSER funds, and if that is going to be a big project for the air conditioning, for like a central air for those elementary schools that don't have it. And again, you don't have to answer it now. So.
The ESSER 3 funds are designated for that type of projects,
Okay.
and I know that that's a priority for us
Okay.
to take care of that. Timing-wise, I'm sure Kathy O can probably fill us in more on exactly where all that stands. She's the guru of ESSER paperwork and all that. So.
And I'm sure with Tim leaving and all that, there's a little, transition.
But that is, that and the maintenance, certainly our maintenance director, Phil, and all that,
Right.
they're going to be right involved with all of this.
Okay.
All this, but yes, it's definitely a priority.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Closing comments by board members. We haven't done that in a while, so Cody, anything?
I guess I'll start. Yeah, I'd like to welcome our new superintendent and welcome the new Carpenter School principal. I appreciate you guys, joining our school district and our community. It's really exciting. I think there's a lot of change in the air of the school district. We're preserving our traditions and the great way of life that we have in the school district. We're bringing a lot of new faces to help us continue that and to bring some new innovation. So that's great. I also wanted to say, I think going forward regarding the rink, I think we need to prioritize our district students in every town and reasonably preserved programming. And I have faith that our superintendent is going to be able to go to the town of Wolfeboro and negotiate the best deal for the taxpayers and for the students that's necessary, and to provide us with all the facts to make the most informed decision. That we have a 3-month process, anywhere from a month to 3. It could be a very long process of negotiations and figuring out what exactly we want to do, but we owe it to our students as our priority to preserve that kind of programming and to find new opportunities and unlock those opportunities for them, and also the fiscal aspect of the taxpayers to make sure that we're keeping the same kind of product and the same service that have been provided, that we shouldn't set any primacy of one town. It's all 6 districts, and the students are what we're here and who we're serving first and foremost. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Brody. Dana?
Just welcome aboard, Don, and the new principal. I hear him down. Yeah, and I am looking forward to another school year, hopefully without mask. And we'll see how that goes on our stay open plan, and review of our school safety. Again, we're lucky. We have a lot of schools that have already been updated, and there are going to be more updates coming with double doors. And so it's a big issue in other parts of the country, but no town, no state is too small not to take steps to make sure our schools are safe. So again, thank you for the opportunity for me to serve another few years on the board. Thank you.
Tom, any comments?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for selecting me to be on the board. And also welcome to our new principal and our new superintendent. And I'm really looking forward to working with the board.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Never done this round. Echo the welcomes to all the administrators and the staff and the town, and new faces in the district are so welcome, and it's so exciting. And I'm really excited that the New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC decided to give us what hopefully will be as as an attended a year as we've had in many. And I'm looking forward to seeing students in the schools more often.
Jim?
Well, what else are you going to say? Except welcome Tom, welcome Carolyn, welcome. And I'm glad we're back. We're ready to go to work, right, Patty?
Yes. Yes.
Jim?
Thank you. Also, of course, I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm just wondering, have you ever been here in the winter?
I did grow up in Ohio.
Okay, not so bad.
No, the answer is no. I guess I'm not a true New Hampshire person until I go through the first one.
Ohio will qualify.
I think you're doing great.
We accept your experience.
We're glad that you're here.
Thank you.
I'd also like to, again, welcome our new superintendent. I was fortunate enough to be on the search committee, and I think right from the very start, I was really impressed by Caroline, and so far I've seen nothing to betray those first impressions. I think we collectively all made a great choice, and so hopefully you'll enjoy us too. And of course, I'd like to welcome Tom. Now, to tell the truth, I was the one who reached out to Tom and said, "Hey Tom, how would you like to be on the school board?" So I'd like to publicly apologize. But in seriousness, I think Tom, you're going to be a great asset to the board.
Thank you.
And it's great to see you here. And thank you very much for taking the opportunity. And also note, it's only 8 o'clock and we're like almost done.
No.
I'm done.
Well, that's because we do have to go into non-public, so my comment is going to be, I entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, paragraph 2, for legal and personnel matters.
So moved.
Moved by Brody, seconded by Dr. Jim.
Yep.
All right. All those in favor, Tom?
Aye.
Brody?
Aye.
Wendy? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dr. Jim?
Aye.
Jim Pittman?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. We are in non-public. Thank you very much for coming.